Today's episode is sponsored by Troy Allen Buick, located in West Katanning, and Troy Allen Chevrolet Buick GMC of Slippery Rock. Looking for a new or pre-owned car? Visit TroyAllenBuick.com and TroyAllenChevrolet.net for your next ride. Support those that support Ion Sports.
My childhood bedroom at my dad's house had tile flooring because it was in the basement and we didn't want to get mold. I used to have some wild battles with wolf spiders when we first moved in there.
Jeez.
Like, they'd just come in, they'd be like,
Battles?
that big. I would chase them around the room, like, trying to kill them. They're
What?
fast.
Why would you chase them? If you irritate them, that's when they're biting you in your sleep. I bet you in your sleep they were like, he's asleep now.
There's the sucker.
He thinks he's so smart. He doesn't know we can crawl into tiny, tiny crevices.
He has to sleep. We don't.
Do you know that you swallow spiders in your sleep? It's like a fact.
Yeah, like 7 in your life.
No, I think it's like a year.
Oh, well.
I am Butler Eagle Sports writer Derek Pida, and here with me today are fellow sports writer Brendan Howe and Eagle Sports editor Jake Murda Adams. This is Season 2 of the Alter Eagles Eye on Sports.
I stopped by my dad's this weekend because he went up to New York, so I went to check on...
Go see your friends in the
I
basement?
went to go check on Ellie, my first dog. Brought Rambo to see her, and I still have stuff in my closet at my dad's house. And I'm going through, and I have a binder with the notes from my first journalism class in it. I started flipping through it like I have my first project, so I kept that. I was a story on one of the gym teachers up there who was a football coach of mine at the time. I found 6 or 7 papers where we had to like criticize or like dive into someone's story and be like, this is what they could have done better. This is what they did good at. Guess who every one of my stories was? Guess who wrote every one of the stories? John.
Yeah.
I texted him. I was like, look at this. Like, this is 2014, and I guess I was reading your stuff and like looking up to you then. So
I guess I was paying attention, man.
There was some criticisms because like at the time he's writing about Butler football, and I didn't like some of what he wrote about the team. But he's just being honest. Like, we were bad, and I took that as disrespect.
Yeah.
And I was like, he could have written this better. But John did a good job. So
Speaking of criticizing bad teams, we now have our 2 teams scored 10 points this weekend. Our 2 professional teams.
One of them
won. And we're both 1-0 against the Packers this year.
I saw like a blip of Tomlin at that conference afterwards, and they asked him about Aaron Rodgers.
I can't.
And what was his answer? His answer was just so epic.
I'm not going to go into what I think of what he says and how he says it because I can get myself
You cover
in trouble,
him, yeah.
So, yeah.
You gotta be smart.
I just think his answer was he's always just very direct, and he lets you know if he doesn't want.
I think there's a difference between being direct and treating other people like people, but
Fair.
even during today's press conference, the same reporter that asked him
I feel
that
like this would be
question,
the part where the music would come in and be like, whoop, boop.
the same reporter, one of the reporters that were asking the questions about Rodgers, talked to him again today about that, and he like sort of laughed at her question, said, I'm not going to let you put words in my mouth. So I get he's trying not to make Aaron Rodgers mad because we've seen what happens when Aaron Rodgers gets
You don't like
annoyed.
him when he's angry.
But I don't know. If you watch other press conferences around the NFL, there's not plenty of coaches that interact with the media in the way that Tomlin does. So good thing, bad thing, whatever.
It's interesting. I mean, I'm not as plugged into the whole fan base as you are, but it's interesting to me that I don't feel like I see as much of the, not necessarily vitriol, but whatever, like a step or 2 down from it is about the way Aaron Rodgers has played at times this year. He's had very good games. He's been very inconsistent also too. I mean, he's 41 years old. I don't expect him to be elite every single game, but last year with Russ and with Justin Fields, it didn't feel like they had like a 2-game grace period, both of them. Like, you could have one game. If you had a second bad game, the fan base was all over you. And I don't feel like, and again, heavy caveat that I'm not paying attention to the entire fan base, but I don't feel like Rodgers has gotten that same criticism.
I don't think fans have been very harsh with him either. I think deservedly so. He should be criticized for the way he played on Sunday night because watching that was just like he looked like he was every bit of 41. And it's funny because Chris Collinsworth is on the broadcast blaming all the receivers, and then you kind of go into I guess some people watch film. They're like he moved around in the pocket. He bailed way too early. Like the same things Kenny Pickett did, except for he went forward and not spun the other way and tried to run. I don't know. I read a tweet on the way here. I saw something I think Tyson Alualu said, who was a defensive lineman for the Steelers, still lives around here, went to Cal. He says that if the Steelers want, or if Aaron Rodgers wants to come back for a second season, the Steelers are going to let him, and I'm just not sure at this point. And I know this is recency bias based on the last game. But
Yeah.
I don't know. You can only beat a dead horse for so long.
I'm trying to pull this up real quick. This is not Steelers specific related. This is not a tweet, a Blue Sky post from someone who covers the Eagles, or he's part of Eagles coverage, I should say, for all PHOI. And it was the chart that he posted last week encapsulates, and we're just going to ignore the construction work being done by Laura at the moment.
I'm sorry. I had to get
It's helping me just fill badly everything. So you guys have kind of like poked at me a little bit this year, and deservedly so. Like, why am I mad about a team that is now currently 7-2, even if like they haven't always looked great? Like 7-2 is 7-2. It's better than 85% of the teams in the league. And there's this chart. This doesn't include obviously last night's game, that shows what it's like to watch this Eagles team in a nutshell. And Brendan, I'll like spin this to you, and I know you have like a half a second basically to look over this, but they have the worst 3-and-out rate, so the most possessions that end in a 3-and-out of anyone in the league by a mile at 37-ish%, which is the worst since 2014. Like, there are some really bad teams in the NFL over the last 11 years, and the Eagles are worse than that. But they have one of the highest rates of scoring touchdowns on drives. And I looked at it, and I was like, this is what it feels like to watch this team in a chart, and I've never seen a chart look like that. And the last thing I have with it is I just realized the Eagles invented two true outcomes football. Instead of a walk, strikeout, or home run,
I was
3-and-out or
on
touchdown.
The way home last night, I was talking to Bailey, and like I told her what the score was at that point, and I told her
6 minutes, 40 seconds.
It seems like being an Eagles fan, the only part that's fun about it is they win. Like, it's not fun to watch them. It's not fun the way they play. The receivers kind of hate being the offense they're in, but they win games, so they can't complain all that much.
There was 45 seconds in which it was very entertaining for an offense last night, and it's when Barkley spin moves the crap out of Valentine, like out of his shoes for a 41-yard gain, and then they throw a bomb to Devontae, who, like, Slim Reaper, I weigh more than that guy. I weigh more than him.
And he has his Heisman Trophy might weigh more than he does.
Yes.
So.
And he goes up and skies balls in a way that like Randy Moss and T.O. and all these like greats of the last 30 years could do. And he's like half their size.
Randy
It's crazy.
Moss. That's a good looking
It would be nice to have two receivers, I'll tell you, being that DK Metcalf has two defensive backs on him on basically every play. So, and it's so funny because people are like, why isn't he getting the ball? Why aren't you going to him more? I don't know. Usually you don't throw the ball towards someone that has double coverage.
Yeah.
And Rodgers did. He overthrew him by 10 feet. But
yeah.
And
DK is not, he's a super good receiver, but he doesn't seem like, despite his, like, he looks like he's built to be a wide receiver tight end hybrid who should just dominate every single game. But it's clear he's not quite that. And it's sometimes unfair to put expectations just on someone's physical looks to the way that we do as fans in sports, yada, yada. But it's clear he's not the kind of guy who's a double coverage buster. There are very few of those receivers in the history of the NFL.
He doesn't look like he's fast either.
No.
And everyone's like, I mean, we've seen how fast he can be, but it's funny you mentioned like the way he's built, because I went up to him, like I told you about 2 Sundays ago. I asked him the question the wrong way, and it seemed to annoy him. And I went up to him on Friday, and he carries around this big 1.5-gallon water jug, and I'm like, are you going to drink all that? Just to go up and like talk to him. He's like, yep, every day. I was like, that's crazy. Like, I don't know how you drink 1.5 gallons of water a day. And we're just joking around about that. And then I was like, and then you got to carry it around all day. And then I said to him, I was like, oh, wait, that's not any problem for you. He like laughed and walked out. So I don't know. It especially the ball bouncing off Calvin Austin's hands like it did. I like Calvin Austin. He's a nice guy, speedy receiver. Didn't catch it. Roman Wilson seems to only make big plays whenever the score. Like, I feel bad for Roman Wilson in the fact that when he makes plays, they're out of the game. Like, he can't even celebrate about it. He can't even, like, be happy. He's just got to give the ball away and walk to the sideline. Like, I don't know. Maybe they should have went and got a receiver.
Well, speaking of wide receivers, Karns City and North Catholic. I'll be fair. And North Catholic. We've got 2 teams left in the state playoffs. Derek is not here today, or it actually is state playoffs in football. I should correct my own correction there. Derek is not here today because he is currently somewhere in central Pennsylvania. We assume he's in Chambersburg right now, getting ready to cover Seneca Valley's boys soccer semifinal with a trip on the line for Northeastern in York County, which is not too far away from Chambersburg, in the state finals on Friday. So we have some notes from him today. Brendan and I are here holding down the fort. Derek, we miss you. Hope that you enjoy your Rudders trip. But we got two teams to talk about left now. We lost two football teams last week. Brendan, tell us a little bit about your North Catholic Trojans here who are left. They got an Avonworth team, which we'll get to our picks and stuff in a little bit, but they looked good last week and they forced a bunch of turnovers.
Yeah, so it was a very, I would say, even game up until that point in the third quarter where Elizabeth Ford turns the ball over 3 straight times. They capitalize. Yep. Another thing that really stood out to me was everyone got in on the action, especially on offense. I think Riker Kennedy had 3 touchdown receptions. Preston Simcoe had 1, but on those receptions, and you couldn't see this in the story, but obviously you can't see it in a story, those receivers were open by 20 yards on like at least 2 or 3 of the touchdowns. So I don't know how you lose that or members of that offense. They have a lot of weapons, so maybe that's part of it, and the team's kind of playing up to that. I asked afterwards, what about this team now, 4 weeks, I think, after they lost to Avonworth the first time I covered them, is different and why they have a chance to do something this Friday. And it seems Joe Flitzky and Logan Shade are both really confident in the way that this offense is running. Logan Shade, he was injured. He's still dealing with
better on Friday.
A bit of a hamstring injury. They've also kind of incorporated another running back, Nate Swisher. He's a sophomore, I think. I remember Coach Chris Rizzo saying he played hockey last year. This is his first year playing football back. They've incorporated him, so now they have a 1-2 punch at running back. Shade is the speedier guy. He broke away for a 93-yard touchdown, which was impressive. That was the second time I've seen a 93-yard touchdown this season. I don't think I've seen touchdown over 90 before that. But
well, did you see who else had a 93-yard touchdown run last week? Our boy at McKeesport
oh, yeah.
came on, had a big one.
I saw the video of that, and that kid bounced off like 7 tacklers. Yeah. So, yeah, there's a reason he's the number 1 running back. I wish, honestly, that we covered McKeesport at Aliquippa because that's going to be a very interesting championship game. But we've talked all year about this North Catholic team and defense.
Yeah.
That offense is very consistent, and it will give them a chance to do something this Friday. And against an Avonworth team that has beat every opponent by at least 2 scores.
So here's the question I want to ask you about the defense. So I'm watching I have 2 live streams on Friday night because 2 of the games couldn't get. Actually, I think the third game was a radio broadcast. So I'm able to watch a good chunk of the North Catholic game, but I still have to like kind of split screen stuff a little bit. And I see those 3 turnovers. I've probably been the most vocally critical of this defense, and critical in like the softest way I can possibly be because I only watch a handful of the games and whatnot and can do what I can. But was that defensive performance just simply a product of like they've got some turnovers and 1 or 2 of them did look like they were just kind of in the right spot at the right time.
I don't want to shortchange them and getting those turnovers, but at halftime it was pouring down rain.
Yeah.
And it was still wet and soggy by the time they came out for the second half. Elizabeth Ford's quarterback, they stripped him on the one play. He plunged right into the line. Ball came out of his hand. Another one was the snap went awry, and North Catholic was there to jump on it. The first interception that Will Waskowicz had was off of a receiver's hands. So you figure the ball is probably wet at that point. Maybe we had snow yesterday. I'm sure they'd much rather rain this Friday again. Yeah. Maybe have that ball slip out a few more times. But, yeah, they got the turnovers, but I do think that the weather had at least a tiny bit to do with it.
Which makes me wonder, can the defense, like, turnovers are not sustainable in football. They're more a product of, like, luck. And I know some of it is skill, obviously, but there's just it's sometimes just right place, right time. I don't know if they can rely on turnovers to beat Avonworth. It's possible.
Same conversation as the Steelers have been having. So, I from what I remember of the Avonworth North Catholic game I covered, it was chilly that night too, but they brought out that Wildcat, and I think I wrote in the story they had 4 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns over 60 yards. So if they can limit the big play, maybe they can keep themselves in it, but that's a big if with the way that I think his name was Luca Neal runs that Wildcat because he was finding just seams and getting out of there, which we're not used to seeing the talent that North Catholic has kind of be beat out, because they might be the most talented team in terms of overall talent that we have in the county.
Especially offensively, yeah. Another talented team we have left is Karns City. Derek was at that game on Friday night. The Gremlins won 42-14 over a Central Clarion team that I thought was going to be a little bit more competitive in that game.
It shows them the win.
Yeah. It's the only reason why we're tied in our picks right now. And now they got a Farrell team who's, and we'll get to this, they're ranked one of the top teams in the state by most media outlets. Pittsburgh, I think Trib Live has them in the top 10. I think Eastern PA Football has them in the top 10. But Karns City capitalized on turnovers again too. 5-0 turnover battle according to Derek's notes. The Emmerich brothers, I don't think we might have done a story on them really early in the season, but they both have a big defensive touchdown. CJ gets a fumble recovery in the end zone because the ball is just snapped like 3 feet over the quarterback's head. I watched that play like live as it happened. Shane Emmerich, with the game kind of out of reach at that point, returns an interception 16 yards and just puts the icing on the cake. I think Karns City scored another touchdown after that, but it was largely over by the time Shane crossed the end zone. Owen Higginbotham came back from injury, 9 carries, 88 yards. That offense chugging along as it has been. I was pleasantly surprised that Karns City was able to dominate the game more than they did in week 4 when those two teams faced off. What did you think about Karns City getting to this point now? They're in the first round of the state tournament. We will talk about their matchup with Farrell in a second here, but just any thoughts from your vantage point on them?
I think this is just about the same score as my game was. I think it might have been 35-14.
Yeah.
I don't have the memory Derek does. This is a team, and just thinking here, I think this is the only team in the time I've been here since 2021 that has made the state playoffs, and this is second or third time now.
North Catholic's technically in 2. They count this week as the start of states, but it's still under Whippeal banner. So
I think that this is a team that's built for this time of year, and we see this from the start of the year where they have 2 or 3 guys that can hand the ball off to. The quarterback can run. Defense plays really tough. This wasn't the same Central Clarion team as last year. Obviously, we saw them go to the state championship game, but it's so cliche. But I feel like as the weather gets colder each year, there's one way to play football, and North Catholic kind of pushes back against that. But you have to be able to be tough, and I don't like playing in the cold. I don't like I said, I went for the run yesterday. I don't like running in the cold.
Yeah.
It's freezing out there. This is the time of year where I sit in the press box, and I'm happy to sit in the press box. But I don't know. You have to be tough at this time of year, both like mentally and physically. And this is a team that year after year, we see that same sort of like grit from them.
Yeah. 2 other games we had last week in which our local teams were knocked out. Union AC Valley on Saturday. I'll start with them first. That was just a weird game looking at some of the stats online as they were coming in. Red Bank Valley it looked like Red Bank Valley just had their number the whole day. Like Union AC Valley was not totally in that game. A disappointing loss, but like that's a really good season for that co-op. They have never had a season like that. They finished a game short of making the district final. Nothing to sneeze at there. It's just like, oh man, what a bummer of a loss that was on Saturday afternoon. And then Freeport loses Amos Glen against Avonworth on the very first offensive play of the game. It was already a really uphill battle, as I think Derek highlighted last week in the show. Like they had to get off to a really good start fast in order to have a chance and put Avonworth on its heels. And once you lose Amos Glen, you lose that ability to do that, and it was over from there.
It's interesting in 3A too, because you see these teams like I covered on Friday night with Elizabeth Forward. Always seems to have a bigger team. Then there's teams like North Catholic, obviously. Central Valley's in there. Avonworth is obviously. And then there's teams like Freeport and Knock who come out there and they have these 35 really tough guys, 40 really tough guys. And at this time of the year, attrition, like you mentioned with Amos Glen, Drew Ross, talking to him before in that game, and I didn't write about it because I didn't want to give it away, but he did not sound to be even maybe 75%. Like he was basically telling me yeah, I'm out here just because I know my teammates need me to be out here. Like he knew he needed to rest his ankle, and he had no time, even with taking some time off towards the end of the year to rest up in that way. So they were just really banged up and really damaged heading in. And as a coach, you never want to be like, oh yeah, whatever. But I don't know. There's just a difference in roster size, and attrition really is a big thing in this time of year.
Yeah. And a team like Freeport, which doesn't have a serious roster issue, but that's not, as you mentioned, Avonworth has a much bigger roster. Freeport can't afford to lose its 2 stars.
Yeah.
It can't, or even have them at less than 100%. It just changes the dynamic of everything, and we saw that on Friday night. We'll get to the state soccer and volleyball stuff in a little bit. It's a little tricky because we're recording on Tuesday, which is the start of the state semifinals right now. So by the time this episode drops, all of what we say is going to kind of be a little bit delayed, but we'll get to that in a little bit. We do want to take a moment and talk about, we did something different last week. We had basketball media day, Butler Eagle basketball media day, our first one. We've done 2 football ones over the last 2 years. Brendan, you were our MC/organizer for the 3-point contest. We'll touch on that in a minute. But we had 19 schools descend on the Butler family YMCA. John, Derek, Brendan, and I were getting a bunch of content for upcoming this year with either playoff preview or preseason preview stuff, top players to watch, storylines for teams, etc. Also grabbing some different story ideas as well. Laura and I were doing a video interview segment. We had photos being shot. Griselle, our social media editor, was doing some TikToks and stuff like that. They'll be dropping over the next couple weeks. So keep an eye on that. I don't know. It was a hectic day. We had 10 teams in the first 2-hour window. But Brendan, like, what were some of the highlights for you from those 6 hours that we had, minus the pizza? I know you were.
I didn't have any pizza.
You didn't have any pizza.
No.
Jeez.
I actually went home later that night and we got pizza from Luciano's down there in Cranberry. But it was funny because I joked around with multiple kids and asked, if I told you I could dunk, would you believe me? Nobody said yes. And it's funny because I asked one of the kids, I think from Mars, like, why don't you think I can dunk? He's like, well, you have jeans on. I was like, that's not the reason. No lie to here. But yeah, it was different. We're used to football media day, and that made football media day look easy, honestly, in terms of by the time I left there, I didn't really want to talk to anyone the rest of the night. But some really interesting things that we found out from that otherwise we might not have, just having that time to talk to those kids and being able to just see what stories are out there. I have at least, I think, 4 or 5 features coming over the next few weeks with.
Nice.
Going to take a little bit of a different angle with Austin Wroblewski. He is kind of the latest in a line of Mars basketball stars, even when I've been here that I've covered. Tess Stefanos is playing at IUP now, I think. He originally started in South Carolina. But I've seen a few good players there. Ryan Check from a few years ago. Austin Wroblewski has already 99%, it sounds like, shut the door on playing basketball in college.
Oh, really?
He wants to go to Slippery Rock and become a physical therapist trainer.
Interesting.
Because he said that he's dealt with injuries and they've really helped him like stay at a happy point in life because injuries can be tough. Ben Dedish, his kind of partner in crime there, the other returning starter from ours, tore his Achilles at the beginning of the offseason, it sounded like.
Wow.
He's already back. He's been playing. He's been practicing. They expect him to play as the season starts. But he went through an accelerated recovery process with his physical therapy after tearing his Achilles. So that's really interesting.
Was it a partial tear or a full tear?
I didn't ask exactly. I'll probably follow up on that. But it was tried and true, like Achilles tear.
Yeah.
It wasn't like just, oh, wow, my Achilles hurts. But so he's their big man. He can do it all, rebound, score for them. I saw that late last year in the playoffs. Another Mars girls basketball player, Maya, I'm blanking on her
Maya
last name.
Moore.
Yeah, she.
Come on, Maya Moore. Like, she's got the name.
Come on, Brendan.
She's kind of the third musketeer on that team. They have 2 girls going Division I. But she wants to be an architect. I found that out about her, and I think that's really interesting. You don't hear a lot about kids that want to be architects.
I almost went to school for architecture.
Yeah, so I learned some of that from her. She said that she wants to go travel Europe someday and see all the architecture out there.
Wicked cool.
Yeah, and
What is this, the 90s? Wicked?
Mark Wahlberg.
I lived in Boston, so you can just get your attitude with me all you want. Okay.
You know what? Screw New York. We can both agree as Philly and Boston.
I'm not saying screw New York.
You lived there too, didn't you?
New York, Boston, both of them. I like both. We just got off the rails. I feel like we need a segment called Off the Rails.
I also wanted to ask Brendan what a not tried and true Achilles tear is, because he said a tried and true Achilles tear.
Like an Achilles tear is.
I don't want to find out.
I didn't know there was a true version of one and a not true version of one. I'm learning something today.
You figure like you hear of these athletes on.
What is tried and true Achilles?
You hear about these pro athletes that tear their Achilles and takes them like a year and a half to get back. To be back in 6 months, like I don't know.
So you had a fake one.
Like
That's what you're reporting.
That's what I'm saying there.
An Achilles tendon rupture is a tear in the strong fibrous tissue that connects the calf muscle to the heel bone. We already know that. Sorry.
Is that tried and true or is it untried and true?
I don't know. Recovery time depends on the severity of the tear and the treatment chosen. It can take several months to a year to gain full function. So I have a friend who did that as a dancer, and she had to have surgery. She had to have it repaired. And then even after that, she had to wait before she could start doing stuff. That scares me.
The Achilles tear is like one of the worst ones.
As a regular civilian here that just plays flag football on Sunday mornings, that is like the scariest thing.
Like when I was when I danced professionally, and I was cycling professionally. I'm telling you, my calves would get tight, and I would always be like, "Well, I gotta." And
everything I've ever heard about,
because I'm afraid that's gonna cause something to happen. I was terrified that was gonna happen.
People have described it as sounding like a gunshot.
Yes,
when
it like snaps.
Ruptures.
It like yeah.
Some people, and I think I was talking to Ben about this. Some people, it really really hurts. Like it's like a burning sensation. Some people it's just like you hear a pop, and you're like, oh.
And then you can't. And then you can't. You can't like walk, right?
Yeah,
I heard
you have like a flat tire, basically.
You literally can't walk. Yeah, and when you have injuries to your feet or your legs, it's the worst thing. Having to like hobble or have crutches.
You wonder how you drive a car. If like I drive with my right foot, so if you tear your right Achilles, how do you drive on a daily basis?
Well, then I did know this guy who was an athlete in California. He had a motorcycle accident and lost one of his legs.
Jeez.
But I'm trying to think, in the amputee world, they do consider, like if you still have the joint, like the knee joint, they consider it what's the term? I'll think of it when we're not talking. Continue with what you guys were doing.
Anyways, finally here, the last thing I learned, and I include this in our what we learned, was Joe Rapp, fantastic golfer, also a basketball player, and he wants to be a commercial airlines pilot here within the next few years. So if you're getting on a flight anytime soon, I still haven't ever rode an airplane.
Rode an airplane. All right, we got two good ones today from Brendan here. Mark it down.
Flown.
Flew on an airplane.
Flown.
You're a writer.
You're just gonna be on top. I could just see him in like a saddle.
You've never been
like that.
You've never flown in an airplane.
No, what's that called? The Twilight Zone, where there's like the monster on the wing. You know what I'm talking about? You got to know what I'm talking about.
Oh, Twilight Zone.
Yeah,
yes.
where there's the monster on the wing and the guy.
I've jumped out of an airplane.
No thanks.
Skydiving.
There was
Come
a time
on, guys.
in my life where I might have done
I think
that.
we should do an episode with you guys skydiving.
Oh God, no.
I'll skydive with the green screen. You can put that.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, we're not doing that. We're doing the real thing. We'll go to one of those simulation things, you mean?
I'll do that.
You can't splat on the ground doing that.
Here's the thing about skydiving. Most of the deaths from skydiving are the parachute's already opened. It's they're jumping in conditions they shouldn't be jumping in, so they can't control the parachute, and that's when they slam into the ground. It's very rare.
I know it's rare
that it doesn't open because there's always a reserve.
Terrified of heights.
Here's the thing, though. Yeah, it's a weird thing, though. You're literally like you're falling, and you only fall for I want to say it's 60 seconds, but it feels like should we still be falling? Like we're still falling. I'm still falling, and then boom, and it just stops.
We need to find someone in the newsroom to write a book on your life.
Seriously.
You've done a lot.
I
was
met
thinking the other day about your ride
things.
across the country on a bike, and I was thinking, like, that's just wild.
I'm actually writing about that. I'm not a writer, so I have a friend who is.
You have several friends.
And I've got several here, yeah. But I am actually, because there's some good stories from that in itself.
That'll be cool.
Yeah.
I'll read that.
Yeah,
Jake, I'm going to take 2 weeks off and ride across the country on a
the
bike.
funniest story.
If you got done in 2 weeks, I'd be impressed.
Can I tell you guys a really embarrassing funny story real quick that happened?
No.
You
So
fell off your bike?
I fell 3 times on the total trip.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, but I went 3,600 miles. I have to look exactly at the mileage.
So
yeah, you're going to fall. I actually fell right before I got to the bridge. I was jamming and it was raining. And there was one of those little metal things along the sidewalk. And I was like, boom. And I went and I hit the ground so hard I bounced. And these two dudes, and I hit the ground and I was on the verge of crying because I was like, I'm so close. And I thought I broke my bike. Like I hit so hard and I hit gear side, derailleur side down. You don't want to fall that way, but I couldn't help it. The bike just went out from underneath me. And these two guys were over top of me, and I rolled onto my back, and the rain was hitting me in the face. And they're like, dude, they're like, you just hit the ground so hard. They're like, are you okay? And I just started laughing. And I was like, I don't know. And I rolled over and I started getting up real slow. And my friend Peter was there, and he got the chain back on my bike for me. And I'm telling you, I started moving. I was like, oh my gosh, that hurt. And I got on my bike and I rode up onto the bridge because I had friends waiting for me. But I had the biggest bruise like on this hip after that. But that was the hardest I've ever hit the ground on a bike.
Jeez.
And I know my helmet hit too, which is why you always wear a helmet.
Always.
The other story I'll tell you guys off. Keep going. Sorry, I keep interrupting.
Yeah, we've been derailed for like 7.5 minutes here. Thanks, Laura. Brendan, continue.
You're welcome.
We were last talking about
Skydiving, yeah.
Airplanes.
Yeah.
We went a few different ways there. Yeah, but Joe Rapp might be your pilot someday, so just you're keeping up this golf career. And
I do have one last thing.
Oh my God.
Whenever you do fly for the first time, they tell you not to wear headphones, but people do it anyway. When you're getting ready to take off, and you'll know, like it'll kind of be driving around, you'll know when it's getting. Listen to Highway to the Danger Zone when the plane takes off. I do it every single time because I don't like flying. So I do it every single time I pretend I'm in Top Gun.
Hey friends, before we jump back in, just a quick reminder. If you're looking for all the latest high school football scores, schedules, news, and highlights around Butler County, make sure you check out this week's live coverage on our website. It starts every Thursday with features, previews, and more, and continues Friday evening with a live blog we update throughout the games and post-game recaps after that so you don't miss a thing. ButlerEagle.com/section/sports has everything from local highlights to player spotlights, so it's a great place to stay caught up on all things high school football, soccer, and the rest of the fall sports. That's ButlerEagle.com/section/sports. Also, if you're enjoying this podcast, it really helps us out when you rate and review the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you listen. And don't be afraid to tell your friends and family. We love word of mouth. It not only helps more people find us, but it also lets us know what you'd like to hear more of. Thanks for your support. Now let's get back to the show.
Okay.
I'm just laughing at, okay, I'm done interrupting you, and immediately interrupts us 7.5 seconds later.
Yeah, my to sum it up, my point is a lot of interesting stories that you wouldn't get just from going out and cover a basketball game. So I'm looking forward to writing some of those. The
interesting was doing the player poll, the anonymous player poll that came out on Monday and will be in print later this week. The boys on the boys side of the players that voted, Butler Boys is considered the best team, and it was a runaway on that one. Best team in the county.
I saw that, and I was wondering if that's because no one really thought of North Catholic being there.
I was wondering about that too. Yeah.
Because they were the team last year. They're in the state semifinals.
Yeah.
So I expect them to be really good. Derek mentioned in the office last night that one of us is going to have to get in touch with Jim Rocco out there to talk to them, and obviously they have a talented team. Will Waskowicz is part of that team.
Yep.
Still playing basketball right now. So, and then something that stood out to me about your story too is they're voting for the favorite players. LeBron James.
I know, right?
Vote.
Right? I thought the same thing.
I will give the kids props though. Drake is their number one musical artist, so I'll give them props.
I don't know
there.
if I'd say it was their number one musical artist, because the question I asked was about like what's the song that you're gonna play on repeat, but I didn't get anything where I could really like hone in on like they answered these songs. It was all over the place, but Drake's songs kept showing up more often than anything else. So I just like kind of configured it and said Drake is the answer.
Everyone hates on him with the Super Bowl show, which you guys remember that I was not a fan of, but
he is not my
Drake
kind of artist.
is going to be there for a long time.
Anyway, the other one that was interesting was the player of the year. Who do you think is going to be the player of the year? And it was Gettinger for the boys and Natalie Hambley for the girls. We've got our top players to watch list coming out before Thanksgiving. Both of those two are going to be on our list, I'm sure. I mean, we're not going to name a preseason MVP, but it was just interesting to get their thoughts on that. It was also kind of funny to look at some of the answers and it was for different questions where you could tell like some of the kids on the same team were answering and they just all answered the same thing.
I even just sitting there like kind of next to them, or as I was waiting to interview people or do this or that, I was hearing them whisper like, the Butler gym, like, yeah, like, and then they'd all just agree and then write it down. So There's one more point I wanted to make there. Oh, you got the exclusive with Andrew Gettinger before he even posts that he was going, or he plans on going to Edinburgh. He told you that story went in today's paper. I thought that was pretty cool because he's someone that's probably been one of the biggest stars that Butler's had. Well, have been here at least, or the most flexible.
Flexible
positionally.
Is a good word for him. Yeah. That my thoughts were good job in the 3-point contest. We did have a couple people like whispering. I shouldn't say griping, whispering about like we had some of the junior balls in the YMCA had, and I kept saying
we're working with what we're given. We can't help that. I'm not going out and buying $120 basketballs.
Those videos are going to be out over the next couple weeks. Thank you to Grissel for shooting them, Brendan. Thank you for organizing that. Do you remember who the 3 were that won? I think I remember who it was. Mars Boys, I think, had 9. They would have won
Butler
the whole
Boys
day.
Won one.
Yeah,
right?
Butler Boys won the second one, and I think it was Freeport Boys won the third.
Andrew Gettinger got up there and hit 4 or 5.
Yeah,
so that kind of helped there.
And then hit the overtime shot against Union. It was tied after 7.
Who bumped one off your head?
It was some Seneca Valley girls, or not Seneca Valley, Slippery Rock girls went first because we need to get Slippery Rock done. And the first girl from the right wing, or from left wing, I guess, went and got her 5 shots up. And the very first shot from whoever it was at the top of the key, she missed short by like an inch and a half from the rim. And I'm standing just right underneath it feeding balls to Brendan. And it hits me square in the top of the head. I actually felt it Friday night. I felt it Friday night. I felt it that night, in the first few minutes after it, but you got to play it cool. Like
it reminds me of like you're playing dodgeball in gym class and like half of the class, whether it be girls or just guys that didn't want to play, are like shying away from getting hit by balls. And then we get hit in the head and it's just like, oh, ball hit me, carry on. But might be concussed here. You might need to go into concussion.
On Friday, I was kind of sitting there like, I might have been hurt worse than I thought. But like, I had to play that one cool because just all the kids and coaches are there and you just hear everyone go, ooh. It is the second time in a large group I have been drilled by a basketball. The first time happened in a playoff game at Cedar Cliff, and a kid went to skip pass from the other side of the half court line, and I was sitting behind the home team bench, and he skip passes it, misses his teammate by like 1.5 feet over his hands, and I see it, like I'm recording video of this, like just thinking there might be a highlight during this particular moment. And I see the ball coming at me, and it's just one of those where like you can't really move because you don't know where else it's going to hit you. So you just sit there, brace, and hope it doesn't hit the phone. Hits me square in the gut, and you just got to like tense up, and you just got to sit there and eat it. And everyone in the gym just goes, ooh. So twice now I've been
face turns red.
Yeah, and you just got to like immediately afterward, you're sitting there like, I just want to go cry in a corner right now. This freaking hurts, and you just got to act like nothing happened. But that was good, and we had a fun time. I learned during our At the Buzzer segment, which we'll have up a little later today, I thought more kids knew K-pop Demon Hunters because that went super viral
that
in
was
the summer.
one, yeah. A lot of kids were like, what is this? Like, I don't even know what this is. So.
I was asking that I had it on the player poll, like who your favorite character is, and then we asked that At the Buzzer of a few players, and I did not realize how many kids didn't know. Like, I just assumed. So this shows you how out of touch I am with Gen Alpha. But I assumed incorrectly. But we did have a good time with that. I know that a couple of kids were having a good laugh with that. And Laura was yelling at me with different instructions throughout the day. She had a good time bossing me around too. But good day all in all. We'll have a bunch of stuff coming out between now and Black Friday. And then, basketball season will be on us really soon. It's going to be 2.5 weeks here, I think it is. Welcome to At the Buzzer, where quick thinking meets court vision. I'm Jake, and here's how this game will work. We're putting our high school basketball stars to the test. They have 45 seconds to answer as many rapid-fire questions as I can throw at them on basketball, pop culture, and more. Who's got the fastest mind in the gym? Let's find out. Cecilia Christie, Mars Girls Basketball, are you ready for At the Buzzer?
I am ready.
Man or zone defense?
Man.
Least favorite chore to do at home?
Unload the dishwasher.
Who is the best dressed player on your team?
Maya Moore.
Horror movies or rom-coms?
Rom-coms.
Should there be a 4-point shot in basketball?
No.
What is your biggest pet peeves?
Slow walkers in the hallway.
What's your favorite shot on the floor to take?
Pull-up jumper.
Who are the 2 people on your team you want to help survive a zombie apocalypse?
Maya and Alexis.
Offense or defense?
Defense.
Number 1 song to sing at karaoke?
Anything Drake related.
More fun to make a big play in front of the home crowd or an away crowd?
Home crowd.
What would your wrestling entrance song be?
Headlines by Drake.
Who is your favorite player to watch on the boys or girls basketball team?
Alexis Castro.
Sweet or sour?
Sweet.
Ah, almost had it. That was such a rapid
All
fire round.
right.
Great job. Thank you, Celia.
you.
All right, Emily Hoffer, Butler girls basketball. You ready?
Yep.
All right. What's your favorite shot on the floor to take?
Probably a layup.
Who are the 2 people on your team you would want to help you survive a zombie apocalypse?
Ashton Huff and Peyton Kramer.
Offense or defense?
Defense.
Number 1 song you'd sing at karaoke?
Party in the USA.
All right. More fun to make a big play in front of the home crowd or a big shot to silence a road crowd?
Big play in front of the home crowd.
What would be your wrestling entrance song?
Probably Party in the USA.
Who is your favorite player to watch on the boys or girls Butler teams?
I like watching Melina McElroy.
Sweet or sour?
Sweet.
Buzzer beating 3-pointer or breakaway dunk?
Breakaway dunk.
Perfect. Right on the buzzer. All right, thank you. We appreciate it. All right, Natalie Hambley, are you ready for At the Buzzer?
Yes.
Who has the best uniforms in Butler County?
Seneca Valley.
Universal Studios or Disney World?
Universal.
What's the number 1 play on your all-time personal highlight reel?
Just a 3.
Favorite character from K-pop Demon Hunters?
Pass.
Who has the worst musical taste on your team?
Ella.
What is your favorite concession food to get at a game?
Hot dog.
Who is the team's comedian?
Me.
Which opposing team has the rowdiest student section?
Butler.
Hottest take you have about any Pittsburgh pro team in the area?
No, pass.
Who wins a game of horse, the boys team or girls team?
Girls.
I love the attitude. Thank you, Natalie. Nick Santoro, Mars Boys Basketball. Are you ready for At the Buzzer?
Ready.
Dog or cat?
Dog.
What is your least favorite drill to do during practice?
Suicides.
What is your perfect breakfast?
Eggs and toast.
What's one rule you'd make if you could change anything in basketball? What's one rule change you'd make?
You could travel with the ball.
What's your superpower in basketball or life?
Super strength.
Biggest game on the schedule this year is?
Last home game against Lincoln Park.
Which Harry Potter house are you?
Skip.
One player set to have a breakout season on your team.
Sam Miller.
Besides the phone call app, what 3 apps on your phone would you keep if you had to get rid of the rest?
Instagram.
All right. Thank you, Nick. Owen Congdon, Seneca Valley Boys Basketball. Are you ready for At the Buzzer?
I'm ready.
One sport you wish you were good at but aren't.
Soccer.
Favorite pro or college basketball player right now?
Skip.
One pregame routine or superstition you must do before each game?
Skip.
What's your favorite holiday?
Christmas.
For or against the shot clock in high school basketball?
Against.
What's your least favorite holiday?
Thanksgiving.
Favorite or toughest player from the area to defend, Butler County?
Ooh. Gettinger. Andrew Gettinger.
Who will be Seneca Valley's MVP this year?
Owen Congdon.
If one person could narrate the rest of your life, who would it be?
Myself.
If you could change positions, what position on the floor would you play?
Point guard.
Favorite athlete in all of sports?
Ooh.
Gotta be quick. See, you gotta be quick.
That's a tough one. That's a tough one.
Thank you, Owen. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
All right, Stanton Forbes, Butler Boys Basketball. Are you ready for At the Buzzer?
Yes, I'm ready.
All right, sweet or sour?
Sweet.
Buzzer beating 3-pointer or a breakaway dunk?
Buzzer beater. Yeah.
Who is the biggest trash talker on your team?
Probably me.
Favorite magical or fantasy creature?
Ooh.
Be quick. You're at the buzzer.
What's that? It's like the Griffin from Harry Potter.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Who has the best musical taste, the boys team or the girls team?
Oh, the boys team.
Best Disney princess is?
Princess Tiana from Princess and the Frog.
Awesome. All right. Best opposing gym to play at?
I I like Newcastle because the environment's just crazy.
One sport you wish you were good at but aren't.
Volleyball or no, baseball.
Favorite pro or college basketball player right now?
Cohen Carr.
Oh, good job. All right, thank you, Stanton. I said it again.
In terms of picks last week, I think I went 2-2. It says 1-3 here because I got Red Bank Valley and I got Avonworth.
I got to double check that then because I had.
I might still be just one game ahead of you.
Well, anyway, Brendan, do you want to lead the pick segment here real quick?
We've talked about both games here. Karns City first up in the PIAA Class 2A first round playoff. They're facing a team in Farrell, the other Steelers in Western Pennsylvania that have historically been a very talented, fast, tough team. I think they played a few years ago, my first year here, whenever John covered that game in the snow. So they get to play again in the state playoffs in the same round. You want me to go first in my pick?
Yeah, go ahead.
So I think here that the Steelers, they have a running back named Jules Johnson who has run for 1,761 yards and 26 touchdowns this year. It's at that time in the year where those sorts of numbers keep on climbing. He is either committed to or I know he has an offer from Nebraska. I was looking through his Twitter, and I couldn't see that he was committed, but other media outlets are saying he's a Nebraska commit. Division I commit, obviously. Matt Rule from your time at Temple.
Yep, Temple boy.
He's coming back to Pennsylvania to recruit, obviously. So I think that kid will be the difference in this one. I talked about how tough Karns City is, but I've seen on one occasion with Keemon Spell and Mars this year how a Division I running back can kind of flip a game.
Yep.
I think Farrell wins this one 25-21.
And you talked about this time of year, the run game takes over. Run game and defense wins championships in high school football, and that's where we are right now. Derek and I are both in the same boat. Derek has Avonworth winning this game 36-21.
You mean Farrell Karns City?
Oh. Wow. Okay, I was not listening to you at all, Brennan. Derek and I are split. And you and I are in agreement here.
Yep.
So I will backtrack for a second and say you picked Union AC Valley last week to win that game.
Did I?
I have it on the notes here.
Man.
So it was a 1-3 week. I went 2-2, that 500 record, and we are tied. I could have gone for the Hail Mary here, and I was tempted to because I wrote down, like, we had to do the picks a little bit differently this week, but that's inside baseball. I was tempted after I saw your score to just flip my idea here and just go with Karns City, but I can't.
Someone's got to take a risk.
Yeah. We're gonna be tied no matter what at the end of this week, so we need to hope that there's a one game. We have one team left next week to try to break the tie. Farrell's 2 losses are against teams that are considered top 10 in PIAA Class 3A in Hickory and against the top 20 team in Ohio in Steubenville. I think Karns City, if this game was played in September, I don't think this might have been much of a game. But I think they're going to be able to keep this one a little bit closer. I can't see them beating a top 10 team in the state, and that's no discredit to Karns City. I think it's just the quality that Farrell is. I have them winning this game 32-21. But Derek is on your side, Gremlins fans. Ever since Punxsutawney beat them coming back from 19-0 in late September or mid-September, Karns City has not lost, and he doesn't think they're going to lose this week. He has Karns City winning it 27-25, a close one.
He's putting on his purple hoodie.
He is.
This week.
Not his Steelers hoodie. He's not wearing his Steelers hoodie.
He's rooting against the Steelers for one time. Just don't tell him to tank. Okay, second here. North Catholic Avonworth. This one will be right down the road from where I live there at North Allegheny High School. I've actually never covered a football game at North Allegheny.
Really?
I've played a few football games there. Obviously, it's one of the premier stadiums around here. They have a video board that probably costs millions of dollars. Nice. It'll be cool to cover a game there. Avonworth, North Catholic, the rematch of the same game, like I mentioned, I covered a few weeks ago, and Avonworth kind of stomped the Trojans. They're hoping that doesn't happen this time. They look a little better. And like I said earlier, I think the Trojans looked really good against Elizabeth Forward. And same as all season, it's just a matter of whether defense can slow the other team down. I think North Catholic's run stops here, unfortunately, and it's funny because at the end of last week's game, I'm standing outside of their post-game huddle, and Coach Rizzo says, for all the people doubting you, picking against you, you remember that? if they get word of this, maybe it'll give them a little bit of motivation. I think Avonworth is going to win this one. It'll be close, 35-28.
Derek also has Avonworth winning this 36-21. He's focusing on the defense again, but Avonworth has produced 400 more yards per game on average.
It's ridiculous.
Like unreal production from a high school offense. It doesn't matter running or passing or a combination of the two. That I just don't see too many teams ever putting up 400 yards per game. North Catholic's in for a long haul. I am also picking Avonworth in this one. I have them doubling up North Catholic 42-21, and the reason being, and I was kind of hinting at it earlier when we were talking, relying on turnovers is a really tricky proposition. And maybe North Catholic's defense has improved over the last few weeks, but I don't know if it's improved enough. They're gonna have to force turnovers and then score off of them at the rate that they did last week.
Keep the
And
ball away from Avonworth as long as possible.
And I don't think that that's really possible against a team that quarterback Carson Bellinger, I went and looked this up. He has 1 interception. He's thrown for 25 touchdowns. Now, I don't know what their fumbling rates are on offense because Max Peps doesn't usually record that too well, or teams don't put it in too well. But the run game is averaging 8 yards per game, and that's the whole run game. That's not counting their starters, who that number is actually higher because they have a couple kids that are backups averaging like 11, 12 yards per carry. It's a team that doesn't turn over the ball too much, going up against a team that is going to need to rely on forcing turnovers to stay in this game, and I don't see it happen.
The big thing with them, too, John Gale out of Freeport said this last week, and something I just saw covering them, their offensive line looks like grown men.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure a few of them are going to college to play just with their size and what they've been able to do, paving the way there, but that's also something you have to consider this time of year is the big guys are the big guys, and you got to have something to match up, and if you don't, then there's trouble.
As the as the great Chip Kelly once said, big guys beat up little guys, and we know how his career went.
Hey, he won the national championship last year, so. Stump Jake music, huh? So, Jalen Hurts has the second most rushing touchdowns in Philadelphia Eagles history at 60. He's probably going to break that, maybe even this season. Who ranks first? I would have never got this, by the way. So.
Oh.
Can I ask for a single hint, because we know that I'm terrible at trivia questions here. Is this person from before or after I was born?
Before.
Okay.
I would have guessed Brian Westbrook or LaShawn McCoy, who are 5 and 4 on this list.
Westbrook was up there for me. So, okay, I'll take a minute to think about this one. I'm probably still going to get it wrong.
Okay.
And all of my friends are going to give me a hard time because I should know who this is.
Welcome to Beyond Butler, our weekly segment where we talk about something outside of Butler County sports, whether that be professionally or collegiately. Jake, I'm not sure how much of a gambler you are. I have not opened FanDuel in I think like a year and a half now. Yeah, a year and a half. I just feel like every time I gamble, I lose my money. Few Guardians pitchers for gambling and not losing their money.
That happens with gambling.
So, Luis Ortiz, former Pirates pitcher, and Emmanuel Clase, an all-star closer.
Who is going to be traded at the trade deadline, possibly.
And he was in line for a really big contract. They get tied up after just a few weeks ago. Some NBA coaches, players, an NBA coach and an NBA player, and they got in trouble for the gambling.
Yep. Chauncey Billups and Terry Rozier.
Yeah, Chauncey Billups. I always get him confused with Stephen Marbury for some reason, but I didn't want. I didn't want to be wrong there. What are your thoughts on sports gambling at this point? Like, people keep getting in trouble for this. They still think they can find loopholes and make some extra money for themselves.
This is my thought, and maybe this is the overly progressive side of me showing out here a little bit, but gambling has been going on since sports were invented, and this stuff was happening before it was legalized across the nation. I think the one thing that's changed now is it's a lot easier for it to be spotted, and now we have systems in place where these betting apps are able to notify the leagues something's up here. We think that there's either the players doing something or there's a whole lot of weird gambling around this one particular thing, and they can shut a lot of stuff down. That was not something we could do a few years ago above board, I should say. Maybe it was probably happening at times underground or whatnot, but I mean, it's like a famous rumor that Michael Jordan didn't actually retire.
Yeah.
He just like stepped away so the NBA didn't fine him or didn't suspend him for gambling.
It just took a little hiatus playing on the
Yeah,
diamond.
it was just like a under the table handshake agreement between him and David Stern to just like disappear. So that
It's
way
like
the
Shohei.
yeah, exactly. That perfect example. Now we're just recklessly speculating here, but I don't like they're getting caught. Like that's the whole point of what these regulations are now. So like, yeah, it sucks when it happens, and yeah, you got to question if the leagues and whatnot are doing everything they can. But this is also showing at the same time like this stuff is getting caught. Like the answer is not get rid of all the refs that way you have like no flags in a game and or like can fix all of the bad officiating in whatever sport. No, the whole point is like officiate the game so it's played properly. So I don't get why you would get rid of the officiating of gambling regulation to get rid of this stuff, because it just goes back underground and we don't know what's going on. We're going to catch some of these people.
Speaking of games with no refs, you ever play NFL Blitz?
I did.
Blitz the league.
Love that game.
Purposely no refs so that players could suplex each other after the play.
Yep.
Very fun games.
NFL
But
Street was better though. Street was a better game.
I'm going to buy myself another NFL Street 2 disc at some point because mine
so
kind
good.
of was too scratched to be playable anymore. But I remember in college, I was in a public speaking class with my best friend. His name was Josh, and one of his presentations was on why sports gambling shouldn't be legalized. And I remember thinking at the time, like, just being in college, like, come on, man, like, you're just being lame.
Mhm.
Like, why do you got to get up and, like, push back against this? But we're seeing the consequences where I get your point of, like, now it can be tracked unless people are using, like, offshore betting. And
Yeah.
it goes into a lot of shady stuff. But I don't know. It's going to be something that, as time goes along, more and more changes are going to come. Like now you can't bet more than $200 on these prop bets of the over-under on the pitch speed or ball or strike, which it's crazy that you could bet on, what is this pitcher's 67th pitch going to be, a ball or strike, and above 92 miles an hour. It's like, if you're betting on that, like, I think a red flag should be raised just by the fact, like, who's betting on this?
Yeah.
Why are you sitting here at home on your couch watching for this number pitch, what's happening here? Like, you have a problem. You need to call that hotline.
I do agree with like getting rid of prop bets in college sports though, because the college kids, most of them are not going to go pro where they can potentially make hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars. So like they're much easier to tempt into this kind of stuff. So get rid of the prop bets on that side. I get that part of it. But I sit there and go, okay, if you're a pro who's a manual class A and you're making hundreds of thousands of dollars to pitch or potentially millions, depending on, your contract and everything, you screwed this up. You either gotten with the wrong people or made the wrong decisions. And like we do this with people with steroids, we do this with people who commit like other crimes out there. It's on them.
I saw an ESPN notification on Twitter the other day, X, whatever you want to call it. Like these guys are facing, I think, 65 years in prison for this.
Up to.
That is insane. That you'd go, you know what? I need an extra $60,000. Like
the chances of that actually happening are very slim. Like they're going to get
still
a couple
any
years.
jail time for that.
Yeah.
Is just absurd.
And your career is probably over.
Yeah, you can go pitching.
Yep.
Felipe Vasquez, the Pirates' old pitcher that got in trouble for, what he did. He's pitching in the Venezuelan league. I saw that this weekend too. So there's always baseball leagues you can go pitch in, but you're never playing in the MLB again.
Good timing. This is really bad. So the only name that keeps coming into my head is Harold Carmichael, who is a receiver.
What?
And that's not, so it's obviously not the right answer.
Rushing touchdowns.
So. It's rushing touchdowns. I'm going to throw out, and I think this is wrong, I'm just going to throw out Chuck Bednarik. Okay.
Steve Van Buren.
Van Buren.
He played 83 games for them from 1944 to 1951. He had 69 rushing touchdowns. Wilbert Montgomery is third on that list. 6 is Randall Cunningham, who I know you're a fan of. 7 is Ricky Waters, who really wasn't with them for that long. 3 seasons. He had 31.
He had wow.
9, Timmy Brown. Never heard of him. Or 8, Timmy Brown. 9, Donald McNabb. And 10, Deuce Staley, who I will always remember as my first ever Steelers jersey.
Pickle juice game. That is one of my first Eagles memories, was the pickle juice game. Like solidified, like I am an Eagles fan watching these games every Sunday. I remember the pickle juice game very well. You have no idea what that is, do you?
That was when they were facing the Cowboys and it was too hot, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. See, I know my stuff.
Okay.
I watched enough
All right.
NFL films in my life.
So, all right, we'll run through this really quick because we can't do too much of a deep dive with the state semifinals about to start here in 4 minutes.
I'm literally, after we record this podcast, running to my car and driving as fast as I can to Fox Chapel.
So here's the scouting report from Derek.
Don't tell
Cameron
us
Woods, super good. She's a very good soccer player.
Yes.
This defense, very good. Cameron Woods, going back to her again, injured last week in their Tuesday first round game, still scored the game winner, the eventual game winner on Saturday. This team, according to Derek, has no weaknesses. This is their first trip to the state semifinals. Basically, since they made states, every win has been their first whatever. So if they win tonight, first state championship appearance, they would be playing in Northeastern High School in York County. Know that area somewhat a little bit from my olden days. Other things that happened, Seneca Valley boys soccer won in a fairly convincing fashion on Saturday, and Derek's at this game right now. They're about to kick off. The Seneca Valley girls lost, and Mars girls volleyball also lost against two really tough teams. The one thing I'll note with Seneca Valley boys is we almost had a Fox Chapel Seneca Valley rematch, which one would have been interesting because that was 4 games in one season that they would have been able to face, and 2 would have been a lot closer drive than Chambersburg.
It's always nice. It's always nice in playoffs, and I remember for the Steelers this happened when they won Super Bowl 40.
Which Steelers?
Pittsburgh Steelers,
Okay.
not the Pharaoh Steelers. In 2005, when Tom Brady and the Patriots are kind of the boogeyman, they got knocked out of the playoffs by, I think it was the Chargers that year or the Broncos.
I'm forgetting.
One of two, but
Derek would remember.
He would surely remember. It's always nice whenever the team that you can't beat gets knocked out before you have to face them. So Seneca Valley's got that going for them. Cameron Woods being a little banged up is a very big development there because when I covered the Whitfield Championship game, they had 2 girls checking her at all times, kind of like DK Metcalf, and Elena Jenkins ended up having to score the winning goal late there. They would have gone into overtime, and that's where things kind of get hairy at that point. But yeah, tonight will be interesting because, like you mentioned with Seneca Valley and Fox Chapel, 4th time, closer game, obviously, and Burrell showed in that
Freeport against tonight. Yeah.
Burrell showed in that Whitfield Championship game that they can limit
the
Yellow Jackets, and the way that they played was very defensive. We'll see tonight in the rematch here in about 2 hours whether that'll be the case again. So.
Should both teams win, we have the state 4A boys championship will be 10 a.m. on Friday, who I'm going to have a stern talking to for whoever the schedule makers are at PIAA, because putting a 4A
Send that
championship
email.
game at 10 a.m. on a Friday morning is ridiculous. Freeport girls soccer, if they were to win tonight, plays at 7 p.m. on Friday. So we will have some football with our football if we have anyone win.
There we go. That's how we'll close that off.
All righty. We'll see you guys next week. Today's episode is sponsored by Troy Allen Buick, located in West Katanning, and Troy Allen Chevrolet Buick GMC of Slippery Rock. Looking for a new or pre-owned car? Visit TroyAllenBuick.com and TroyAllenChevrolet.net for your next ride. Support those that support Ion Sports.
We encourage you to subscribe to the Butler Eagle YouTube channel and Apple or Spotify podcasts or your favorite podcast platform. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Alter Eagle Podcast and at Butler Eagle News. Goodbye.